Get back to the initial conversation. Former Social Development Minister Bathabile Dlamini returning to the Johannesburg Magistrate's Court today, facing perjury charges relating to her testimony during an inquiry back in 2017 over social grants crisis. So the Con Court had set up the inquiry after an application by the Black Sash Trust and by Freedom Under Law. So for more on this, hopefully now we have Nicole Fritz from Freedom Under Law. Nicole, hopefully you can hear me. It's Dumelo on the line. Now, I'd asked you initially the context of the establishment of this particular inquiry. Just take us through what its mission was. What were you hoping to achieve with this inquiry?
Well, it was a particular inquiry, sort of as what is referred to as a Section 38 inquiry. This will be a little technical, I think, for viewers, but generally the Constitutional Court will hear sort of motion applications, so applications made on the papers. It isn't a court that will hear sort of testimony from witnesses. But what became clear during the initial application, which, as you referred to, brought by Black Sash and Freedom Under Law, was that there was a dispute as to the evidence, and particularly in respect of former Minister Bathabile Dlamini's role in terms of appointing the social grants contract and ensuring its extension by appointing these parallel work streams. What the Constitutional Court then did is appoint this specialist inquiry. It appointed another judge, Bernard Ngwepe, in order to head this inquiry. He conducted that inquiry, which went on for several days, and then presented a report to the Constitutional Court. And on the back of that report, the Constitutional Court then made a personal cost order in respect of former Minister Bathabile Dlamini, and in fact, on the basis of the recommendations of the report, referred that report to the National Prosecuting Authority with the recommendation that they consider prosecuting former Minister Bathabile Dlamini for perjury, for misleading the court in respect to the evidence given.
So just for clarity, can we expect former Minister Bathabile Dlamini to then state her plea before the state actually calls in its first witness today?
I understand that will be the position, that she will give her plea ahead of the first witness being called today.
Yeah. So let's talk about what then is expected to commence afterwards. Also, just in terms of timelines as well, how long it might take, and after her stating her plea, then what commences?
Well, the witnesses' evidence will then be led. Essentially, a trial will be conducted. So the state's case will proceed, and there will then be an opportunity for the defense to lead their evidence, before the court essentially retires in order to consider its verdict in this particular matter. And I think it's important to stress that this is an important moment of accountability, that this was a former minister, and the charge she faces, perjury, might not seem like the most serious charge, but it essentially is one which suggests that she misled the court, that she prohibited the court from actually doing their job, from determining the case properly, because they were not given the requisite evidence. And obviously, both the Constitutional Court sitting and the Section 38 inquiry came at the cost of millions of rands to the taxpayer.
All right, we have to leave it there due to time. But Nicole, thank you for this context. Nicole Fritz from Freedom Under Law.
Yeah, a very serious charge, that being perjury. We'll keep a close eye on that. Before we say goodbye.